Hello everyone. Today's topic will be SS7 signaling. I hope you all are doing well and you have gone through my previous topic which I have already shared in Google Classroom, that is ISDN, BISDN, in-channel, common channel signaling, etc. So before starting to this SS7 signaling, I would like to share a previous topic which will be connected to SS7 actually. That is ISUP call setup. ISUP is nothing but a ISDN user part. That is how the call can be set up in a ISDN network. So I would like to share that knowledge first. Then I will explain this SS7 signaling. Now ISUP is a part of the signaling system number 7, which is used to set up telephone calls in the public switch telephone network. It is specified by ITU-T, used for ISDN and non-ISDN calls. Now messages used for call control, that is in ISUP, this is the call setup procedure. This kind of setup you are already familiar with, while I have already described that how a call is being set up in a PSTN network, almost a similar category. Thus few new terms we will be familiarizing with right now. That is first message, that is IAM, or the initial address message, sent in a forward direction to initiate the call for an outgoing circuit, contains the information to set up a call. First message for a basic call setup. Next message is ACM, or the address complete message, sent in the backward direction, indicating that all the address signals required for routing the call that the call party have been received. Next is answer message, sent in backward direction, indicating that the call has been answered. Next, release message or REL, sent in either direction to indicate the circuit is being released. And RLC, that is release complete message, sent to acknowledge the REL message upon a receipt of a RLC. A circuit can be returned to a idle state. Now let's come to this call setup procedure. Here I have written that is subscriber A, here is subscriber B, and in between 2 points I have given, that is SSP1 and SSP2. SSP is nothing but the service switching points, and in between one signal transfer point I have given. This signal transfer point is nothing but a router or the gateway between two networks. The SSP is the service switching point, which is nothing but a switch. So let's start how this call is getting set up. The same thing, the same procedure. First, from the calling party, the off-hook signal will go to the SSP1, that is the originating SSP. Then SSP will send a dial tone. Then the calling subscriber will send the dial digits to SSP1. Now SSP1 will be sending, based on this dial digit, SSP1, that is the originating message 1, will be sending the IAM message. IAM, what it stands for? It is nothing but the initial address message. IAM to STP. Now this IAM and to reserve an ideal trunk setting. IAM to STP, and for what? For what purpose it will send this IAM message? To reserve an ideal trunk setting. Now this IAM will be consisted of OPC, that is originating point code, destination point code, then circuit identification code, then dial digits, called number, and forward called indicators. IAM then routed via STP to the destination SSP, that is the SSP2. It checks the dial number in its routing table and confirms that the called party line is available for ringing. Now SSP2 sends back the ACM, indicating that remote trunk circuit of the called party is reserved via STP to originating SSP. It routes the ACM to originating SSP, which connects the calling party. Connects the calling party line and it completes the voice circuit by setting the trunk at this side. So next, it will through this ACM it will send that ringing tone to my subscriber A, then it will get connect, and finally it will get off hook, and then it will terminate the ringing tone and send forward this ACM consisted of that. Okay, now we can start the call, and it will get connect, and it will communication will get started. Then finally, if the subscriber A will put down its cradle, then it will send the release signal and it will get disconnected, and finally this RLC will help us to complete the releasing circuit process and the billing process. So that is how an call setup is done in the ISDN network, which is known as ISUP call setup. So why I have said this ISUP before SS7, as I have already told you that ISUP will be associated with this SS7 signaling term. Now, what is this SS7 signaling? It is an international telecom standard defined by ITUT. It also defines how network elements in a PSTN exchange information over a digital signaling network. It also defines how network elements in a PSTN network exchange information over a digital signaling. That is, it actually make the call setup between a PSTN and ISDN. A fully digital network is nothing but a ISDN. And again, it is also having another property that it uses that out of band signaling. What is out of band signaling? In band signaling is what? Which was used by PSTN, where both voice and data, the same link were used. But for out of band signaling, the control signal travel on a separate dedicated path of 56 or 64 kbps channel. So that will never ever interfere with the voice channel. That control signal will be just helping us to create the path for the entire call setup and call releasing, etc. And it will be totally separate path. Now let's come to this SS7 network. Here you can see in this diagram, it is nothing but a SS7 network I have drawn. Few boxes are given names like STPs, these are SSPs and SCP. Already you have gone through these two names, that is STP, signaling transfer point, and service switching point in my previous topic, that is ISUP call setup, that is here. So that same thing will be used in SS7 signaling also, along with another extra node, that is SCP, which is a service control point, is used over here. Now, nodes in SS7 network is known as the signaling points, and it is identified by a point code or a unique address code, and SP is having the ability to read these point codes and determine if the messages need to be routed to the further nodes in the SS7 network or not. So my first node is service switching point or SSP. These are nothing but the switches. It creates packets and send those to other SSPs. It helps to set up, manage and release the voice circuits to complete a call. It also sends a query messages to a centralized database that is nothing but an SCP to determine how to route a call. Suppose in North America, if a toll-free number dialed 1-800-888, then SCP sends a response to the originating SSP. Now again, I have to refer to this diagram. This was my originating SSP and this is my destination SSP. So it will, an SCP sends a response to a originating SSP by sending a routing number associated with a dialed number. As SCP is working as an interface between the database and the SS7 network, so SCP will help us of controlling these query messages. Next is it is having the ability to send messages using ISUP for call setup and tear down, and TCAP for database lookup protocol. Already I have described this ISUP call setup and tear down process. And TCAP, this protocol is actually used by this SCP. So as this service is also given by service reaching point, so TCAP protocol is used here also. My next point is signaling transfer point. It is nothing but a router, or more specifically it also worked as a gateway. Now what is a gateway? Router is fine. Router is nothing but a kind of a switch or hub through which a message need to be forwarded. But what is gateway? Gateway will be the interface between two networks. Like in this SS7 network, suppose this is a separate network and this is a separate network. So my STPs of this network are connected with STP of this network. So these are the gateway STPs, and they are connected through this B link or the bridge link. I will come to this link process in the next part. So this is how my signaling transfer point is used as a router, and it is also having that ability to perform a global title translation, or the toll-free number, that is a toll-free number, calling card number, and mobile subscription identification number. Now what is this global title translation? Means whatever the dialed number will be dialed digit will be dialed from anywhere in the world, so that will be converted into the SS7 messages. Now what is this SS7 message? Is that is nothing but I have already described in ISUP, that is IAM, this REL, ACM. These are the messages. So SS7 means the signaling transfer point or the router will convert those dialed digit in the SS7 message. So that is known as the global title translation. So my third signaling point is service control point. It acts as an interface between telecom database and SS7 network. Already I have described here in this part. So SCP and database are addressed by point code and subsystem number respectively, and protocol used in the service control point is TCAP. So these three were my main topic of this SS7 network, that signaling point of SS7 network is described here. Next I'll come to the links used in this SS7 link. Here you can see the where between these points, signaling points, are given some name like A, C, D, E, B. So what are they? A is a access link, B is a bridge link, C is a cross link, D is a diagonal link, and E is the extended link, and F is fully controlled link or fully connected link. So access link will be connected between either SCP to STP or SSP to STP. Only message originating from and destined to signaling point transmitted on an A link. Only messages. B link is between STP to STP. A quad of B link interconnect primary STPs or the STPs from one network to the STP to the other network. Next is my C link or the cross link, used only when an STP has no point due to link failure. STP has no other route available to a destination signaling point due to link failure. It connects STPs performing identical functions into a mated pair. That is identical function. If these two are having identical function to perform, they are known as a mated pair. Then C link is connected between them. D link is a diagonal link. It connects the local and regional STP pair to primary STP pair in a quad link. Local or regional STP pair to a primary STP pair in a quad D link manner. E link or the extended link, it is drawn between this SSP and STP. Whenever this A link is not enough to what to say when A-link is not enough to reliability to perform the reliability part, then E-link is get used with some extra cost also. That is called the E-link. That is the function of the E-link. And F-link, it is used between these two SSPs, two point to point, two endpoint switching points. It is the F-link in SS7 network. So that is all about the links and the points of SS7 network. Next, I will talk about this SS7 protocol stack. SS7 protocol stack, it is quite similar, not entirely, as WSI is having 7 layers, but here I can see my this SS7 protocol stack is only having uh, 5 to 6 layers in here, where this MTP layer 1, it acts as a physical layer of OSI layer. It defines the physical and electrical characteristics. MTP2 layer, it is a data link layer, acts as the data link layer of the OSI layer. It actually performs the error free transmission or the flow control. Next is MTP3, that is kind of the network layer. It is routing signaling messages within the same network. Next come my ISUP. It defines protocol and procedures used to set up, manage and release trunk circuits that carry voice and data calls. SCCP. SCCP is this one, that fourth layer. It provides a connectionless and connection-oriented network service for transferring messages, provide more detailed addressing information than MTPs, end-to-end transfer of signaling messages, provide global title translation, translates number to DPCs and subsystem number. Next is my TCAP, that is here. TCAP, exchange of non-circuit related data, queries and response sent between SSPs and SCPs already described in my SSPs, provide SCP to SCP via STPs, provides connection from SCP to SCP via STPs. And these are some mobile application protocol. And here you can see I have divided my this entire protocol stack into two parts. This part is used for this call control and this part is used for the database driven application support. And this 3-layer MTP 1, 2, 3, this 3-layer altogether known as the message transfer part or the MTP. So that is all for now. Hope you are understanding this topic. Please go through this video, and I will also share this hard copy of this note. And if you have some book with you, you can refer to those also. Thank you for now.